Mr. Chairman. The all relevant committee, which has been deleted from 4.4 II, has been removed because it can't do that. Simple as that. Only the council can determine the allocation of seats to political groups. Committees can't, so that's been removed. 4.5 has been removed because, again, the content of that is irrelevant because it describes something that is now no longer the case. It's impossible for a member to be appointed to a committee against the wishes of a political group because it is the will of the political group to make appointments. So it's a tautology? Yeah, non-sequitur. That's the, sorry. Yeah, a non-sequitur. So hence, it's been deleted.
I'm grateful. And if I can move you on to page 78, you may recall this issue was the source of some dialogue, shall I put it as politely as that, that took place a couple of meetings ago at full council. This is to do with the appointment of chair and vice chair of scrutiny panels, and this clarifies that. Yeah.
Essentially, this was subject to quite an extensive amount of debate, as the chairman says, at the Constitutional Review Working Party. Essentially, this is saying that in the past, when we have more than one scrutiny panel, both chairmen couldn't be of the same group. And the largest opposition group, as it says there, should nominate one or the other. What we've simply done now is saying that the ruling group will have first chance to nominate the chairman of the scrutiny panel. And then the paragraph underneath sort of replaces that bit. That doesn't really make sense, does it?
Johnson.
I'm very surprised to hear that the ruling group will have first chance to nominate the chairman of an organisation and group that is actually going to be challenging the work of the ruling group. The chair, surely, of scrutiny must always be from the main opposition party. Why has this changed, and when did it change?
It hasn't changed. It's always been the case that it's best practice. Best practice says, as you quite rightly said, that you shouldn't have a member of your group being the chairman of scrutiny. However, there's no rule to say you can't have a member of your group being a member of the scrutiny panel. For example, if you have all of the council made up of the same group, if you had 56 members and they were all Conservative, by default you couldn't have a chairman of the scrutiny panel of an opposition party because there isn't one. But best practice says that you shouldn't have a chairman of scrutiny of the same political group. But there's nothing to say that they couldn't be they have to be of the biggest opposition group. It could just be an opposition councillor.
Councillor Johnson.
In the cold light of day, and you have a majority, and I'm not saying this would happen, they would grab that chairmanship. They would have a casting vote very often when there's a serious matter to be decided upon. There have been times when I've been in here where my party's had a huge majority, but we gave the chair of scrutiny to a very small opposition. I've never seen it before. If it's been there, I've missed it. But I would have always expected it to be in black and white, that it should be from the main opposition. But as it is now, we have Councillor Saunders chairing it.
The legal position is that the committee is politically proportional, and it's governed by those rules, and the chairman can be decided by the major group. That's the answer. It's good practice, as Mr. Hughes says, and it's a convention here that isn't the case, but that's not. We can't enforce that. The legal rules can't enforce that.
Yeah, Councillor Johnson.
practice, then we can't put something in here, but it has become custom and practice within Thanet District Council to allocate the position to. We can't do it. I mean, this is what every council does, is it? I've never heard of it happening anywhere. That the ruling group gets the chair of scrutiny and has the entitlement to nominate their person at first chance. It does seem worrying because they will have a casting vote on serious matters that will be to do with their ruling group and executive.
That's right, but and you're right, it's common practice not to do that, but there's no legal requirement for that. So the ruling group can put a chairman on that scrutiny committee. It seems balmy, I understand the point, but the answer is the law allows that.
No, I think that's clear. I mean, taking Councillor Johnson's point, though, is there not a case to insert something along the lines of it is accepted practice in this council that that is the case, not with it? Well, I mean, you know, the law's the law. We understand that point, but equally, you know, in the Constitution, but there is a practice that well, it's not. Yeah, it's deeper than that. It's more. I mean, the whole sort of process of scrutiny is that, and you know, it needs to be clear, and that you are being the process of scrutiny requires the critical friend approach, which is more open if the person chairing that is perhaps of a different political persuasion. I think that's the sympathy.
No, I understand the point exactly, Chairman, but I mean, in Parliament that's not the case. In Parliament, the standing committees can be chaired by members of the administration. So the fact is, I understand the point, but also the law doesn't require that.
Chair, the same conflict surely applies to the first sentence there in 6.3. The chairman and vice chairman shall not both be from the same group. As Mr. Hughes has rightly pointed out, when everybody is of the same political persuasion, there is no choice but to have the chair and the vice chair from the same political group. So there we go. So the same principle applies in that case. There could be a change there inserted. The chairman and vice chairman shall not both be from the same group. Again, the same applies. That may not necessarily be appropriate in any given circumstance.
There is no strong reason why you shouldn't say the convention of this council has been convention.
Or to say that scrutiny is a special case. We need to. I think it would be appropriate if we did establish that the scrutiny panel was indeed a panel especially set up to challenge the work of the council, and therefore custom and practice may vary from the official line.
I don't think you can make it a requirement. I think you should just say the convention has been. Yeah.
Okay. We will have formal words for that. I have to say, speaking personally, I would feel more comfortable with that as a member of the public, so to speak.